say you wanna watch a drama. You say you wanna watch a comedy. Well, you can watch it with your mama, or you can watch it with your daddy.
You'll even sit and watch it with your middle schooler, so you can come and talk around a water cooler. We're watching all day and all night.
Couch potatoes unite.
Whoa, whoa.
Couch potatoes unite.
Whoa, whoa. Couch potatoes unite.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because let's be honest, you're gonna get some hop-ons. Hopefully, none of them are nail rapists. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Is basking in that autumn glow and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panels and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, The Crown, Once Upon a Time, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Fuller House, Westworld, American Horror Story, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, and Supernatural. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Doctor Who, Gotham, Schitt's Creek, Game of Thrones, Will and Grace, Stranger Things, iZombie, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Orange is the New Black, 13 Reasons Why. The Marvel's Defenders panel will talk Season 2 of The Punisher. The DCTU series panel will cover the 4th seasons of Supergirl and of Legends of Tomorrow, and the Star Trek 50 Plus series will cover the animated series. We'll be launching new panels covering Jane the Virgin, The Americans, Riverdale, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Altered Carbon, Mr. Robot, Charmed, Outlander, and the Breaking Bad universe. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll take a smallish look back at a short-term show from some kind of yesteryear called Freaks and Geeks. We'll don witch hats and bring our Salem cats for Sabrina the Teenage Witch. We'll put out some musical stops for our crazy ex-girlfriend, and we'll revisit one of the all-time and most watched classic sitcoms, MASH. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from bunkers and comedy shows and Comic-Cons, and we just went live from Blue Bridge Games to take a shiny look back at Firefly. Plus, we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback. Just keep your wall plans and your fake blocks to yourselves. Today's panel is Around the Water Cooler and Streaming Originals for Part 3, the final part of our Look Back to Look Forward mini-series devoted entirely to Arrested Development. In today's episode, our panel reviews, reacts to, and recaps the Revival Season 5, which was released to the Netflix streaming service in 2 parts, 8 episodes on May 29th, 2018, and 8 episodes on March 15th, 2019, which means that it is available to Netflix subscribers exclusively, as it is Netflix-produced original content, or semi-original as they say. To remind the listener, Arrested Development centers on the Bluth family, a formerly wealthy, habitually dysfunctional family. The show incorporates handheld camera work, narration, archival photos, and historical footage. One central storyline of Season 5 is a whodunit regarding the mysterious disappearance of Lucille Ostero during the very midst of her congressional campaign. The season also features the cast together more frequently, as Season 4 primarily filmed the cast separately due to scheduling difficulties. Many critics view Season 5 as more in line with the original Fox episodes, and that having the ensemble back together after previously separating them benefited this season. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds an approval rating of 55% with an average score of 5.14 out of 10 based on 51 reviews. The site's critical consensus reads, Arrested Development finds itself back in familiar form, recapturing much of the cast's chemistry and comedic brilliance, though it still doesn't quite live up to its own past. On Metacritic, the season has a weighted average score of 67 out of 100 based on 20 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Today, our wacky Arrested Development panel has experienced a changeover, with one panelist departing the panel for life's greater journeys, while one panelist, new to the panel, but not to the podcast, joins returning panelists Nick, Sarah, Amy, and Christian at the water cooler, ready to discuss the latest season of the revived sitcom as eagerly as Tobias perceives himself to be an actor when, by rights, he really should not. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire series to date and may discuss sensitive plot points, sight gags, jokes, and other bits of comedy best enjoyed on a first watch. So for those of you who have not watched Arrested Development and plan to do so, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Great.
Hello.
Actor.
That is the new voice who will be introducing you to in a moment. But are you ready to talk about Season 5?
Yes.
Yeah. Woo.
Thanks, Amy.
Sorry.
And just
You're welcome.
You're okay. And just because, in case there's any sound difference quality, Amy is currently quarantined in a secret model home in Iraq.
Yeah, that's why I sound
A rock or a rock?
Yes.
Okay, good. Glad we cleared that up. She's probably in the attic.
She could be in the attic.
She's coming through it. She's right there.
We don't have an attic, but we do have a crawl space. Are you in the crawl space?
You don't know.
No, I'm gonna make Nick check.
That's really not creepy at all. No sleep for you.
Well, what we're going to do, as we always do at this point, is check your temperature. Because, as we all know, sometimes the show can take turns for the better or worse in our heads, or can continue its awesomeness or lack thereof depending upon story evolution, and Arrested Development certainly had an evolution of its own. So what I'm going to do is read this standard CPU character question that changes with each show we do. I'm going to have the returning panelists do their temperature first, and then we'll introduce the new panelists to the panel, not to the podcast. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Carry the 3. Okay, yeah, got it.
Yes, and then for those of you who do not know or may have forgotten, I do impressions on this character question. Because it's Arrested Development. Now they're bad, I admit it. So
It's only a bad impression if you have to say who you're impersonating before you do it.
I
Or
don't do
during
that.
it.
I don't do that.
Then it's a good impression.
Okay. I'll accept that.
I might change my mind
I was
halfway
gonna
through this.
We'll take your temperature on Tuesday.
You might regret what you just said, but that's okay.
That's commonplace for me.
So how would you rate your interest in Arrested Development following the completion, all 16 episodes, of Season 5? Though it's been at least 5 years since you blew yourself, you are undeterred by all of the possibilities new seasons of this show have to offer, while appreciating the nostalgia of the running gags that began with the original run of the show. Kind of like a greatest hits run-through of every Bluth family adapted character you've ever not so passingly attempted, every poorly staged musical of a trademark property for which you do not have the rights that you have ever directed, or every slightly off-trademark Mrs. Doubtfire that you have ever disguised yourself as. You believe that anyone can do anything you tell them to do. Huzzah! Like Tobias Funke. You have an unhealthy love for it, like you have an unhealthy love for your mother. In fact, you're quite a mother boy, though the adult humor fueled by the new home on Netflix perhaps leaves you feeling as if you have become a mother man while watching it. Even in your naivete, you can see the flaws of the various characters and family members. You seem to believe that they are no more monstrous than you. Of course, that's because you're a monster! But you ultimately think they mean well, even as you nurse codependence with all of your potential mothers, like Byron Buster Bluth. You like this show. You yearn for people to approve it, like you yearn for your family's approval. Same. You're really most interested in the Job character and his illusions, much more than anyone else, though sometimes his exploits make you want to take some forget-me-nows, since he seems to get more in his own way than anything else. Come on! Like George Oscar Job Bluth II. Though you really feel like this show has matured in a convincing way since it was last on the air, and though it hasn't lost its youthful appearance, you are starting to get nervous that perhaps it has lost its sense of identity by trying to do more than it should, or by trying to continue something long past its prime, i.e. the point of reason. Also, you think it would benefit from having a different name, like George Michael Maharis Bluth. You are more interested in the show than you pretend, particularly the retirement home storyline, but you're not so interested in the show that watching it interferes with your secret life as an elder person living in that retirement home, unless watching it will finally get your neglectful parents to notice you, like maybe Funke. You watch it due to a misguided sense of devotion, a need to be in control, and a savior complex. You might be the only level head around you that understands the show for what it is, but sometimes the family really gets to you, and you wish that you could finally leave the family and all of its inappropriate humor behind and stop watching. Even though the family's dysfunction is ultimately something of a comfort to you in the end, really, no matter how hard you try, you just keep coming back for more, even though they're all out of the building the wall and the fake black businesses, thankfully, like Michael or Nickel Bluth. You think the show's sold out in these new seasons? It's really lost itself and doesn't know who or what it is anymore, so you have secretly stopped watching, like Lindsay or Nellie Bluth Funke. You watch it, but spending extended time with the Buster character is really more than you bargained for in the end. In fact, you don't know if you can make sense of what happened, even though the stair car still somehow seems to run, and even if the Lucille character is no longer interested in anything above her own needs, if she ever was, like George Oscar Bluth or Oscar George Bluth, or you don't like the show, you don't understand it, and you refuse to answer any questions about it. Wink, I'm doing the wink, you know the wink. You would rather drink the day away, but since you're forced to live in your family's summer cottage, and since you found a diversion in a local beach bum played by Dermot Mulroney, you wouldn't watch it even if you had no other choice, like Lucille Bluth, who, besides the new panelist, would like to start.
I'm Nick.
Hi, Nick.
I didn't forget.
You did it. I'm very proud.
Step 1, remember who you are.
Apparently last time I was maybe Buster.
That's exactly how you said it.
Which is confusing. In multiple ways it's confusing, because I definitely enjoyed this more than season 4, but I feel like I'm not a Buster, but maybe I'll just stay Buster, because I did enjoy it more than season 4. And it does feel unhealthy. So Buster it is.
That was a lot of processing of feelings.
Well, I'm a monster.
Welcome back, Nick. You're a monster.
Okay, I'll go.
I'll go.
Sarah. Nick is my husband.
Hi, Sarah.
You are.
Nick's wife.
No, I said he's my husband.
Sarah's husband, Nick's.
It only goes
We're a
one way.
spouse.
Sarah's spouse.
I'm not his wife. He's
I know.
my
I'm
husband.
confused. Keep going.
It's in the contract somewhere.
What's going on?
See, look. Listen, I'm gonna be Nickel Bluth on this one.
Last time you were Lucille for the original mix of season 4 and Michael for the remix.
So I'm still him then. I don't understand what's going on, and there's a lot of things, but I keep watching it because I like to be in control and I feel devoted to it. And none of the other ones fit. So that one.
All right. Welcome back, Sarah.
It's really good to be here.
In your house.
Amy, you go.
Yay! Okay, cool. I am Michael. I felt most connected to him. Although, this was the first season that I really enjoyed Job, surprisingly. Because usually he's a jackass. But I liked him this time. Ta-da!
Last time
Okay,
you were a combination, I'm going to read this, a combination of Lindsay and Michael because you said they're twins despite what anyone else says, though you planned on
It's
saying
true.
Lucille because at the time you were drinking wine.
Yeah, I'm not drinking wine today. I'm drinking tea
Okay,
and eating Chinese food.
fair enough. So are you saying you're Michael and Job because you kind of like Job a little more?
Nope. I'm just Michael, but I feel more connected to Job than ever before.
Come on!
Come on!
Okay, welcome back, Amy, who's eating Chinese food and drinking tea.
Oh, I should be next
You
because I'm
should.
not the new one. My name's Christian.
Hi, Christian.
Hi. I am, I think, George Michael this time, which I think is the lowest I've responded.
Last time you were somehow both Lindsay and Buster, but then you landed on Buster because everybody tried to convince you were Michael.
Huh.
Do you remember that?
No. It's all a blur, like much of these
And
past
Sarah
couple
said
seasons have
everybody's trying to tell him he's wrong, but he can have his own opinion.
You can. I stand by
debatable.
that. I stand by that.
I'm not sure I stand by having my own opinions. Because even in
He's
this
also
case,
our resident George Michael.
yeah. And this time, that's also my temperature. We're calling it inexplicably, but yeah, a little leaning
That is
towards
tradition,
Joe.
Christian.
Sorry.
So explicably.
Yes.
Yeah, semi-explicably. With a leaning a little Joe, I definitely found myself saying "come on" a lot, at least internally, when they kept making twists and turns that seemed unnecessary at best.
Welcome back, Christian.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. You're welcome. And now it is time to introduce the new panelists. New panelists, will you identify yourself by your first name, that's your first name, and how you came to watch Arrested Development? What made you start watching? How did you find out about it? What kept you watching? This is way back in the beginning, if it's the beginning, and then pick a character like we do.
Do I know if I remember that far back? Hi, I'm Spencer. You
Hi,
may have heard me on
Spencer.
such podcasts as Downton Abbey and Sherlock and others.
Other non-British ones.
And superhero
And all the superhero shows,
Yes.
I started watching it after it actually finished on network TV. Someone said you really got to watch Arrested Development, and I binged the first 3 seasons on Netflix right after they got it. Thought it was really witty, highbrow in a lot of ways, as far as the humour went, in a dark sort of way most of the time. I just found the characters to be really entertaining, and I was excited when they announced that it was coming back, because I hate the networks for constantly dumping shows that they shouldn't. I'm looking at you, Fox.
He did.
I did. Yeah, looking at it doesn't really work well on voice things. Anyway, so with this particular season that we are talking about, I would say that I am George Michael.
Why?
Because that's just how I feel about the show. The whole description just fits. It feels like 5 was a maturity over 4, but it didn't quite get to where 1 through 3 was. It was almost like it was an homage, but the actors had lost the characters and chemistry a little bit. There was definitely some tension amongst some of them that was visible in the scenes where they were interacting with each other. So that's how I landed where I did.
All right. Well, welcome to the panel, Spencer.
Thank you.
Woo! And of course, my name is Kylie. I moderate and participate on this panel, as is often the case. Last time, I was Buster for the original. He was higher, and Michael for the remix. Today, I think that I would be a combination, which will just make Sarah mad, but only of 2. I am still Buster because I will never stop loving these characters, and they are flawed and they are monstrous and everything, and I maybe am a little codependent with the show because I really love the show. The original 3 seasons are in my top 10 of all time. However, I would also be George Michael for the very same reasons you just articulated, Spencer. I think season 5 is better than season 4, but season 5 was not as good as seasons 1 through 3. There was a lot of weird disjointedness in the season, which I think is partially informed by the split of the release, but also just by the story itself. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, segue, let's talk about season 5. We'll start with the basic. What did you like? What didn't you like?
I didn't like Tobias's new extended family. They were way out there.
Yeah,
They just
tedious.
seemed
Why?
annoying.
So
There
much
was,
why.
Yes, there was
And
nothing endearing about them.
confusing, and was it Murphy Brown?
Yes.
Does everybody have
son
to have a
for
weird
no
name?
reason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Can somebody please explain Murphy Brown? Because I couldn't figure out
Just
Murphy Brown. He's
the
not
whole
really his
system
son,
of
right?
characters.
I-
I think so.
I never really understood it, and the name Murphy
don't know
Brown
who
was
his
just
mother
his
weird.
son? Was Murphy Brown his son?
Yeah, the son.
Yeah, because I didn't get that either.
Someone tweet at us.
Yeah.
Was it? No, I don't know. I lost.
Because, like, again, who was even the mother supposed... Like, Murphy Brown's biological mother is supposed to be.
They never
that's a-
discussed
They never
that.
discussed that. It was just
It's
one of those
just- there's no
weird
tie-in.
things where they added some stuff,
Yeah.
maybe
It's
because...
just a
I
twisting
I
cable.
believe that those characters were introduced so that we could still have a
Tobias.
a
For
Tobias,
Tobias.
a reason for Tobias
Yeah.
to be there, because
Yeah.
without Lindsay, there was very little for Tobias to interact with, especially with kind of being pushed out of the family at that point.
The interactions with him and Lucille were good.
Yeah,
There wasn't a lot. They could have done more with that, probably. but-
well, it's David Cross, right, that plays.
Yes.
Yep.
He's one of the better characters from the original show, so I understand the desire to keep him.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd found a better way of doing it.
Yeah, they didn't find a compelling way to keep him
No.
around.
And, like, I thought Debris was actually pretty good in season 4 off and on, but even then, in bringing her over in season 5 seemed not only not as good, just not as, it just didn't.
For me, the best thing about her was her name because it fit the character.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
I just googled. They are stating that it is his. Can I say?
You can say bastard.
Yeah.
They
You
are.
can say it in an English
They
accent.
say
It
it on
sounds so
Game
much
of Thrones
classier.
podcast all the time.
Exhausted son. I can't do accents. Someone else do it. But
Who else should do it?
any of the other actors in the room or the actual British person. But they are saying that they're purporting that to be his.
Yeah.
His
bastard
His
son.
biological son.
Thank you,
Again, we
Spencer.
have no idea who the mother is.
Nope.
Unless you can quick something search that for us. And
It's not a character on the show, so it's
Yeah.
it's just kind of a.
So it just was confusing.
They were a mechanism to keep Tobias relevant in some form, and it didn't really work.
Confusing and tedious. I actually thought Tobias's scenes weighed it down a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a decent avenue of keeping Tobias around. I enjoy Maybe's interactions with the rest
Yes.
of the family,
Yeah.
and Maybe's dad being around makes sense to me. But
Right.
he was a satellite with the
Like
cartooniest of the cartoon. Like
Yeah.
Tobias is already the cartoon of the family.
Yes.
So when you bring it up, it would be like watching a spin-off about Uncle Jack. That wouldn't be good.
I would watch that all.
I don't think that they
So
need to be that cartoony. He is just subtly hysterical all the time, no matter what he's doing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't need to amp up the people around
Yeah.
him to make him relevant.
No, he's funnier if he is a straight man to bounce things off.
Right.
Pun intent? Is that a pun?
Play back for yourself
Maybe.
later.
Was that a pun?
Maybe. Marry me. Just kidding. That's old school. Yes, Murphy Brown was very confusing, and I actually found, I'll just repeat, that those were the parts that I struggled through the most. I know people like Tobias. I'm not as inclined to find him funny, except in the first 3 seasons. I've felt like his Netflix run has been not good.
He was so
Season
much
4,
better
though.
in the first 3 seasons.
But season 4, Tobias, the
The method one,
yeah,
the method one
that
clinic
was a
is
highlight
really
for
great.
season
Yeah,
4.
that's what I mean. Like him
The
and
one
Debris,
episode
just
was
them.
Method 1, though.
Yeah,
He was otherwise doing his Fantastic Four knockoff.
yeah.
And in the
was
austerity drug rehab, which all of that to me.
Well, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yes.
But the Method 1 stuff is like the saving grace of season 4 for me.
Oh,
Bold.
that's a lot. That's some claims.
So we got Tommy Toon back.
Yeah, he's the head of the gay mafia.
That was actually a very funny scene
The
where he
Oklahoma
goes out to the
Red.
construction site and Job's just not getting it. That was very funny.
So inept at everything, including
Everything.
faking. Yeah.
Even breathing seems to be a challenge, which is what makes him so funny. But the trouble for him is I cannot see Will Arnett as anything else other than Job.
It's true.
Everything I've ever seen him in, he just feels like
Bojack
Job.
is off to one side just slightly enough, I think. But I did remember though, Murphy Brown has slight plot relevance with the fake block thing for like half of one scene.
Oh, yeah.
When he's talking to George Michael, when you think
He does the thing on the computer. You think he's
it's like-
finally going to do something useful, and no.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
I
Which is
like that
appropriate.
actor. I think Kyle Mooney's talented. I feel like he deserved better.
Yeah, I think
with
he was
what little
wasted.
he had to work.
Quite frankly. But I always enjoyed Job. I've always enjoyed Job all
hilarious,
5 seasons.
Yeah,
so
he was hilarious.
he's
all
one of
5
the
seasons.
highlights of this season. And his earnestness to find Tony is kind of endearing.
Yeah.
That was an interesting storyline with him because you feel like he still didn't really get it.
No, he doesn't ever get it.
Anything.
That's the point.
He's a great character, and I actually enjoyed the flashbacks to when they were
I was
kids
gonna hope
in
we
season
pivoted
5.
there. Yeah, that was thought the highlight of
The
the season.
child
for
actors
sure.
they got did a
Especially
really
the
good
child
job of giving us those characters as children.
Yeah.
Those were good episodes.
Well, and it also
Scenes.
introduced us to Lucille's mother,
Yes.
Yeah.
played by the
Yeah.
inimitable Jean Smart.
It gave you some good insight as to why
Yes.
Lucille is the way Lucille is.
Yes.
Now I can't remember though because there wasn't a documentary about weren't actors playing characters too.
Was it
Yeah.
Tastemakers? Wait, what was it called?
I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, because I remember
Weren't we
being
seeing a lot of the
confused.
reenactments of a TV show on Arrested Development about the Bluth family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Jean Smart actually the actress who plays their mother, Lucille's mother, or was it?
The actress playing.
The actress playing the grandmother.
I guess it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, 'cause
I'm now really confused.
I was a little confused and annoyed at first because I really liked Kristen Wiig in the flashbacks being Lucille.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, why didn't they? Could they not get the same?
She
And then
got-
it turned out they weren't flashbacks. It was a dramatization. So that was okay.
I actually enjoyed Colby Smulders.
I was going to say,
I thought
Colby
she did a
Smulders.
good
more?
job.
Okay.
And that was her real life husband, Taron Killam, playing George. So that was a little bit of fun casting. I actually enjoyed her more, and I don't know why. I think it's because, I know her from How I Met Your Mother, and I think she's talented, but Kristen Wiig, I couldn't get over that it was Kristen Wiig, and I was like, haha, it's Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig is always going to be a caricature character,
Yeah.
whereas Colby Smulders came across a little different, which I liked. She's
Also-
also got a new show, and it's good.
Yeah,
Yes, it looks good.
I watched the first episode and enjoyed it.
we've picked it up for the list. Also, Kristen Wiig didn't play off Seth Rogen very well.
Well,
whereas,
Seth Rogen didn't.
Yeah, didn't do a great job. Whereas Colby did a great job off of Taron and vice versa. So
They were much more scenes unto themselves.
So we
They were
actually have established then that was a dramatization because
Yeah.
the original
I believe
flashback
so.
characters
They-
are Seth Rogen
Yeah,
and
I think
Kristen
they
Wiig.
sort of. I guess it's not a red herring, but like they tricked us pretty well. I thought into thinking it was just different.
Yeah, the
flashback.
Buster backstory
Yeah.
as a child was fantastic.
The gentleman collar. It took me 3 times hearing that wordplay before I got it, and
I'm not sure
had
I
to
got
pause.
it. Can you say it?
Gentleman collar versus gentleman collar.
Oh, the collar.
Yeah.
I got
Another
it.
song, Christian.
I was trying to shift my vowel.
No, I got it.
We'll go outside and do that, please.
I couldn't even remember that.
My vowel
Okay,
So-
Christian, come in with his vowel movements.
So did Buster kill his grandma? Or?
yes,
Yes.
Yep, apparently.
that was established.
What?
feel like I
did
didn't
I not
enjoy
watch
that.
it? I did. I don't
He pushed her down the stairs at his mother's behest.
Oh, yes. I
Yes,
remember that.
and then Lucille sort of divert suspicion, used the truth because she believed and got him to believe that nobody would ever pin it on a little boy. But he is in fact the one who pushed Grandma down the stairs.
And Lindsay is actually Grandma's daughter. So she's Lucille's sister.
Which is
Correct.
why
Oh,
their
that I
relationship
missed
is always
entirely.
strained, because the grandma or
missed
Lucille's mother
You're
preferred
focusing on
Lindsay
vowels and collars.
to Lucille.
And who would...
Complicated families.
We need a family tree.
So now that we know that I actually wrote this down. Now that we know that Lindsay is
Michael's aunt?
Michael's aunt, and hold
Amy is
on.
definitively wrong.
What shut up?
What?
Yeah, they're not twins.
I'm
They couldn't be any less twins
It's right
now.
here.
They're
Okay.
really not twins. They're the most not twins they've ever been.
George Michael
Okay,
is her great nephew.
Yes.
And maybe is the cousin to Michael and Job and Buster. And then maybe and George Michael are third cousins, is what you wrote.
Or
Then it's fine.
either that or cousins twice removed. I never
It gets
figure out.
shady,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't understand, but
That means
at
it's
least
all
they're
good.
more
They're-
distantly.
They're basically Roosevelts now.
Sure.
Yep.
That was nice historical incorporation, Nick.
Just slid that one in there.
So yeah, the family tree's all shaken up. But in case you didn't know, Spencer, the rest of them do. Buster is my favorite character. So
Even still.
he's still a monster.
Reminds you of your sister, right? She'll listen to this and she'll love that.
I don't think she's watched this show.
Weird.
Wow.
She's the monster.
Yes!
You're all saying that because she's probably not listening. But the fact that he had so much to do this season, that made me happy. That was my favorite.
There were a
How
lot
do
of
you
fun
feel about
elements.
he's a murderer?
I mean, I'm not saying he's a good guy.
He's
I
a
know.
Bluth after all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Start
he's
there.
the worst Bluth and truly a monster.
He's what happens if you put a child in a cage and ignore it for a few years.
Or
Which is pretty
overly
much what Milford
mother
is,
the
I think.
child.
Right. So did we find out if he killed Lucille too or not?
He did.
He did
Yes.
not, did he?
He admits it in the very last 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
He goes, no, I didn't. No, yes,
Yes,
I
I
did.
did.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that.
Why did he do it? That's dumb. What's his motive?
We
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, they better really sell me on it.
They need to
No.
renew the series, which is
No.
very not likely.
Yeah.
Just because of schedules and now with the Tambor
Yeah.
problems, with,
Him
especially
too.
with Lucille.
Except she
That's-
said she'd work with him again
Yeah.
publicly. So
That's
I don't
right.
know.
Portia de Rossi's done.
I was gonna say
she's done.
she was.
Well, she's basically done acting for the most part, isn't she?
She is.
She wasn't in this back
That's how it
half
appeared
until
in the last
episode.
She was
That's
only
bad.
in 5 total episodes of season 5.
If I was married to Ellen, I wouldn't
And only
need to
one
work
of them
for her.
was.
But
Yeah,
she's a bit
Millionaire.
nuts too, though.
Yeah, they all.
You know,
Portia is?
a little bit crazy.
That
A little
is-
bit crazy.
I don't know about
That is
that.
snakes.
I enjoyed Steve Holt.
Steve Holt!
Yeah,
I feel like they tried to forget about him, and I don't want them to.
They
I-
didn't. He wasn't he
did.
in this quite a bit?
Yeah, he was,
The
but I
back-
mean,
not the back
for a
half.
while it was like,
Yeah, he was only in the first 8 episodes. He
And he
accompanied them to
Got a little
Mexico.
little redemption.
They acknowledged him sort of kind of as a cousin, just one they didn't want to be around.
we all have
It's
those.
understandable.
Sure.
Yeah, but every member of the Bluth family is a relative you don't want to be around. So why is he an exception?
I found it interesting
Oh,
that
maybe.
through seasons 4 and 5 that they decided to introduce Ron Howard as a person, not just the narrator
The fourth wall
with the
just
family.
got, like,
it just got
danced
destroyed. yeah.
Yeah,
We
there is
talked
no
about
wall.
that last time a little bit.
I
don't
found it
care
interesting.
for
I didn't like
Well-
it. I really like him as the narrator. I think it's a
Yeah.
huge part of the show and what made it successful in the first place.
Yeah.
It was a little weird when he went to the barbecue, but that's season 4.
I think it was just too
wasn't
much.
here for that discussion. but-
Season 5, the barbecues in season 5.
Oh, season 5, first half.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was very strange.
Well, season 3 ended with them pitching their the family story to Ron Howard, and now they're doing too much with him. I think.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the stuff with his office and the rocket ship thing in it,
Even
and I
just
was
like
like,
70% of it, what they had would have been tolerable. You know.
As I said in the last episode, I love Ron Howard, but this
Yeah.
is too much Ron Howard.
I think the problem that the show faced was having that long layoff
Yeah.
and then trying to build it back up. Everyone's had too long between it to try and just continue from where it was. It's very, very difficult
You can
to do.
feel fatigue.
Well, it would be
in-
like
in
it would
every
honestly it would
aspect
be
of the
like trying to resurrect Seinfeld today,
Right.
as if they just got out of prison after the last episode. I just don't see that working,
No,
and this struggled with that quite a bit.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Concur.
I'd agree as well. Anything else you liked or didn't like?
I mean, a little
Okay,
bit,
I like maybe in the old folks home.
Why did
Yeah,
you
I
sing
thought that
it?
stayed pretty
You liked it so much you sang it?
What? I didn't sing
The
it.
word "home" definitely had a singy feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, like
gonna
on
start
stage,
harmonizing,
Okay.
but you-
So tell us what you liked about maybe in the retirement home.
I just thought that she did a really good job at being an old person.
I thought that the
She
caricature
did.
of the old person was very amusing.
with Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah,
What's
what-
his name?
Stan Sitwell.
Thank
Stan
you.
Sitwell.
I
Yeah.
didn't think they were gonna pair maybe up with Stan Sitwell.
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
That was a little creepy.
That was a lot of creepy.
I did like that the sort of at least like half an episode of her just losing herself in the character.
And didn't she keep hitting him in the head and then
Yeah.
convincing him that he was going insane?
A couple of times.
I
I
think
mean,
that
it wasn't too repetitive, but there were enough of them.
And it
Because
was.
he kept trying to, put
Yeah.
the moves on her.
Yeah.
And in the original 3, a big part of maybe storyline was pretending she was older than she was. They
Yeah.
just extrapolated that.
Marry me. The movie producer business.
Yeah.
So you really like that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I thought that she did really well. Yeah, I mean, she's very sneaky, and she can really get her way when she wants to.
That's true.
It died, however, when Tobias and his family showed up. It was
Too
like,
many
one of
down.
the
oh dear God,
one of
get
the
away!
worst scenes in the whole.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they were all Mrs. Featherbottom-like, but Golden
Because they're all
Girls-ish.
just really bad actors, so
I do
they...
think sometimes in season 4 and 5 they're like, what was funny before? Okay, let's
Yes.
do that times 10.
Yeah, because
I
the
think that
running
was
gag
better.
thing is one of the things you just learn to love about in 1 through 3. So it's like, yay, more running gags, and then 4 and 5, I was like, no, not these ones though. Not
Yeah.
these running
I
gags.
kind of thought it was just because they knew they had to be in disguise, and that was the only thing Tobias could think
And they were
of,
all-
and so
yeah.
he just did it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too, but it feels like from the writer's standpoint.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
The build that you get over the first 3 seasons, they try to do not only in one of these seasons, but it's sometimes not even something they created for the season. They're pulling something that we've
From
already...
before.
And I feel like at times what they'd written when they filmed it, they thought, oh, that wasn't good, but we don't have time to redo it, so let's just keep going on.
Yes, whereas I think in the first 3 seasons they film more than they need, and then they were able to pare down to the
Yeah, I have a
next, and then
feeling
you
that
get
they
the
would
next
go
time
back
on.
and say, okay, that didn't really work, let's do this instead and refilm and slot it in where it belonged. Whereas with the last 2 seasons,
Right.
I just feel like, okay, we've got a day with this actor this week. Let's film their scenes. Okay, he's gone. Oh, that's crap. Oh, well, we can't do anything about it. Let's move on.
And I think you're right. I think it all has to do with the cast scheduling, because Netflix isn't really known whether a show is good or bad when it's a Netflix original. They typically give you the time to make the show and give the people what they need to do a good show.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would have held back with this or rushed.
They did hold these 8 episodes, though, the second half.
Yeah.
They had those filmed a long time ago and then released them this spring.
No, but that was very strange, that big gap in the middle of this season.
Cutting and recutting them a bajillion times. And
Or
I thought it worked.
they're also experimenting with doing more shows that are weekly releases, so
Right.
that people can't binge them and be done with them and cancel their
I'm currently
subscription
watching
from
the Great British Baking Show on Netflix, and they're doing
way.
that weekly release right now. I like British shows. I like baking. Do you have a problem with that?
That's true. All equally
I just
nerdy,
thought
that's why
that
we're
you
all
would just call it the Great Baking Show. It's just the Great Baking.
But and that brings me on to one of my biggest gripes. Is Netflix calling it a Netflix original? It's not a Netflix original.
It's a
Same
semi-original.
But the Great British Baking Show now, they're calling that a Netflix original. It's not. It was on PBS before it was on Netflix. It's from England. It's not a Netflix original. They did not start it.
You expressed earlier that you're mad at Disney
For the same
behavior.
thing. Stop
Yeah.
taking other people's properties and then claiming it as your own. It's fine. It's on Netflix. Great. We're very grateful that you put it on. You don't have to say it's yours originally.
It's
It
called
isn't.
branding,
I don't
Spencer.
think that word means what you think it means.
Inconceivable.
Exactly. Rant over.
Hey,
Nick, would you put this soapbox over there for me, please?
I know, Spencer found it.
Gosh, I
Understood.
hope we don't lose our free Netflix. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Give
fine.
I
us
feel
one.
free to gripe because
Yeah.
they still are not sponsoring.
That's right.
For the
As
number
long
of
as
shows
they're
that
our
we talk
unofficial non-sponsor, we can say what we want. So
Now, when they give us all free Netflix, we're gonna say that
we'll
they're
kiss their
great.
butts.
I will take that all back in a very
$13
public
a
apology
month,
special episode.
Great Netflix baking
A
show. We'll
semi-original
change it. It's fine. We don't care.
Great Netflix.
I will even let Netflix claim I'm an original if you sponsor us and give us free memberships.
We will.
Wow, that's some concessions.
Birthed out of Netflix tubes.
What? What is happening?
I don't know. I feel like the writers from Arrested Development.
Christian, you
If
have a
only
job in
people
the making.
Yes. Season 6.
Okay.
Even more ill-advised.
We haven't really talked about Michael's journey this season.
Oh.
So I can't even
journey?
remember what
Yeah,
he
what
did.
journey?
What did he do?
See,
I
Michael
like how
went
he made
from
the wall out
being...
of teeth. That's
Michael
fun.
went from, in season 1 through 3, being this really strong character that was kind of the conscience of the family,
The
to this
straight man.
whimpering simp in season 5. I couldn't stand him. Every time he was on the screen, it was like whiny Michael, and I just did not like whiny Michael.
He's basically George Michael, but grown up.
Yeah,
Imagine that. And
yeah,
George-
without the
yeah,
and not as dry.
not as dry.
And I absolutely
That one's as
love
good
the
as
actor.
Sarah.
I just couldn't stand the character in season 5 compared to what we saw in season 1 through 3.
Yeah, so he ends up living at the mapping company that's not a trademark name we can say. And then he keeps going back and forth with George Michael over Rebel, Ron's illegitimate daughter, played by Isla Fisher. And then there's this whole... Oh, because they try to make Job the president of the Bluth Company, Austero Bluth Company, again, because Lucille, too, is missing. So they need a president. So they make Job the president once again. And Michael discovers the secret $3 million that the Chinese gave Lucille and George to fund the wall that they then spent, but they gave it back to them to give it back to them
Reclaim
for
their
their
dignity,
honor.
yeah.
Yeah. And then...
They were mildly displeased.
Yeah. And then...
That was actually funny stuff. The Chinese
Yeah.
storyline was funny.
And then he uses that $3 million to buy Fake Block because George Michael's totally wigging out because it's a fake company, but yet it still continues to hemorrhage money. Because Mavis Khan died when he fired her.
And then the Chinese ended up taking Fake Block in replacement for the $3 million they didn't get back.
Yeah, they tricked him into it.
The little gambit the father and son got to play right at the end was a
Yeah.
nice little...
It was. Kind of gave him some of his dignity back.
Mm-hmm. Which also was a riff on the fact that we started the season with George Michael punching Michael
Yeah.
because they were both dating Rebel, which is, kind of icky.
So you guys say Isla over here.
It's Isla.
I was.
We say Isla in England.
Isla, yeah.
Is she English?
The S-
She's Australian.
No,
The S is
that's
silent.
Like Island.
I don't know how you say
But
her
I
name.
think actual
I've never seen her in
American people
things.
say Isla too.
I don't know.
So Kylie's not an actual American now?
Well,
No,
we're
I think
finding
she
that
just
out.
doesn't know anybody actually named that.
That's true. It's not a very common.
and I
Red
haven't
Nut
seen
said.
any other project that she's been in. I know some things she's been in, but I've never seen her up until.
You didn't see
Good question.
Scooby Doo Monsters Unleashed? Or wait,
Oh,
or was it
sorry.
the first Scooby Doo?
I
Who
saw
would she play?
Scooby Doo
Was
with
she in
Sarah
it?
Michelle Gellar
Yes.
in it.
What was she in that?
I think it was the first Scooby Doo. She's Shaggy's
it's
love
important.
interest,
Oh.
and she gets possessed by the.
Oh.
I didn't know she was. I know
Matthew
she's
Lillard.
in that Confessions of a Shopaholic
He does
movie,
the cartoons.
but I didn't see that.
She's in Bridesmaids. Did you see?
I saw it. It
Bridesmaids?
was good.
I forgot she was here. Run!
I thought she died long
She
ago.
keeps like coming back.
She keeps getting fake blocked. That's what's happening.
Oh, that's it.
How's your Chinese?
It was good.
Are you
It got
mildly
cold.
displeased with your?
They got cold.
Hey, speaking of fake block, I'm surprised that it lasted so long. I kept expecting it to go away. It lasted too long, I think.
The storyline or the company?
Right.
Yes.
Both. Yeah, I mean,
But it was typical
I,
Bluth
why
fashion
did
for
it
that
last
to go
so
away.
long?
Yeah.
And why did it keep coming back?
Because maybe and George
It was
Michael
dumb.
are semi-competent as opposed to everybody else.
That's true.
They're really good liars. They're semi-competent as opposed to everybody else in the
I
family.
mean, they're somewhat akin to George in keeping something going
Yeah.
that everybody else would fail at.
Yeah, I think they take after their grandparents,
Yeah.
or in Mavy's case,
Whatever. But yeah.
maybe
really-
grandparent George Michael.
Wait,
I'm so confused.
wouldn't if Lindsay
Oh, we know.
if Lindsay is Lucille's sister,
niece.
that would mean that maybe is
Lucille's
Lucille's
Correct.
niece. Yes.
It's very
We
confusing.
need a whiteboard.
We need Post-it notes and red string and push pins.
Is George Sr. not related to Lindsay?
No.
Guess it doesn't
I
mean
still don't
anything.
know how I missed that.
This family tree has all kinds of weird fruits on it.
Well,
See
George
what I did
Sr.
there?
would be her brother-in-law.
I'm doing finger pistols at him.
But he seemed to love her like a daughter. Like he seemed like a nice dad to her. Maybe.
Relative, yeah, I mean, relative to some of the relationships in the family.
In a lot of ways, he was the most honest
He paid off
character.
people in prison to not hit on her.
Yeah.
He only committed some light treason.
He may have committed.
He
Maybe.
may have committed some light treason. But there's always money in the banana stand.
Then we had the interesting storyline with like some sort of Mexican mafia with the wall and the land.
The Mexican Romneys.
The Mexican Romneys. That was it.
That was one of the things that I
That
didn't
looked
understand.
decidedly
but
not
still-
Mexican.
Yes.
I got real confused during that.
So there's a branch of the Romney family tree.
Yeah, no, I got that.
So what didn't you get?
I don't know.
Why it was supposed to be funny? 'Cause-
Maybe it might have been season 4. I was still confused about who wanted the wall and who was building it. And
Yeah.
was it the Chinese or the Mexicans?
The Mexicans do not want the wall.
Right.
The wall they were
Much
trying to
listen.
build on land that the Blues claimed was theirs, but was actually Mexico's.
Got it.
The Chinese wanted them to build the wall because Chinese like to build walls, i.e. the Great Wall.
Good wink.
This feels wrong.
There's a little, subtext of racial stuff.
Yeah.
So
Feels
It's
a
not
little
even
problematic.
subtext. Some of it's just
there's
text.
just flat out stating of things.
Okay. All right.
And in 5 years, this will be completely unacceptable.
Well,
If we're lucky.
I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years.
Things once thought unacceptable have.
5 years seems like such a long time from now. Who knows what will happen?
Global warming.
That may be a little.
Hey,
It's like,
Oh,
Hey,
Amy.
Amy.
hey, I'm glad that Tony Wonder's alive.
Yeah, he is alive.
Just saying.
That was all
Same.
a fake cementing in the closet.
Yes.
With the closet thing that the closet store guys helped Joe build because he
Oh,
was
yeah,
in
that's
the
first
closet.
half of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first half. All that happened
So
in the first
long.
half. It's very jam-packed this season.
the plot.
Yeah.
There are so many. It seemed like in the first 3 seasons, there was one major sort of plot going, and then tons
Yeah,
of
maybe
B
one a
stories.
season.
But lots of little things.
Yeah.
This is like there's just so many
Medium
actual
to big.
plots.
Yeah,
Shuffled
there
up.
was a heck of a lot
Yeah.
going
I
on.
was thinking on the way here, more or less like, did as many plot points happen in all of seasons 1 through 3 as happened in just season 5?
Yeah.
Like if we got the red string and push pins out, I feel like we'd have a lot more red strings. for
I
season
think
5.
maybe, but there was 3 seasons over which they spread it, as opposed to the one
There's also
season.
storylines contained to an episode in seasons
This
1 through
kind of
3,
felt
which I don't
like
think
this-
has ever
a little
happened.
more monster of the week.
But this kind of felt like they were trying to wrap it up, knowing that season 6 is unlikely.
While leaving it entirely open-ended.
Allowing
and in
you-
a less satisfying way than the open ending of season 3.
So leaving it open-ended like the end of Sopranos, without the fade to black.
Have you ever watched
No,
that?
they wrapped it up.
Neither.
Well,
I thought.
they did, but Lucille Austero's corpse fell out of the wall.
Yeah.
Why did
Buster-
he kill her? I don't get it.
Yeah.
No
That's
motive
still
was
the-
discussed.
I know he already said that.
He was
Wasn't
hopped up on
He just pushes old ladies downstairs. Like,
Well-
I think that's the.
Wasn't
That's
he
what he does.
dating her at one point in time?
In the original
a couple
series.
points. A couple points.
They were
It could have
being-
been... Yeah.
Grabbing life by its points and not letting go no matter what Mom says. My favorite lines from the entire.
When we looked back at the original 3 seasons, if you haven't listened to that episode, I highly recommend you do. It is hilarious because the number of quotes that we managed to regenerate for that
That's
episode
fantastic.
was truly surprising and amazing and fantastic. Because the original 3 seasons were highly quote-worthy. I can't think of
absolutely.
a single quote from this
That's
season.
another
No,
great.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's season 4.
That's also improv.
No, but it was just funny how he said it. I don't know my guy. He didn't know his guy.
There was some line about debris having, like, kissing somebody and being shocked at how little give their teeth had.
Oh no!
They're like, I guess there are moments that stick out. I wouldn't call that quotable, and I regret saying it.
I made a huge mistake.
You're right though. Again, this feels like almost
Are you going to say eulogy?
Could you
no,
Google it?
more of a a fan homage to the original. Not. It doesn't
Not
have.
quite in a Disney Star Wars way, but
Yeah, not quite that.
They don't understand Star Wars.
It doesn't really.
It's come on.
It's like
You were
it's like
aware.
there's a jigsaw puzzle with a missing
Here,
piece,
go see
and
a
they
star.
found a piece, but it doesn't quite fit.
What did you say?
Sorry.
It's like there's a jigsaw puzzle with a missing piece. They found a
Or
piece,
three.
but it doesn't quite fit. There's something misshapen.
the writer's
Something
going, hey, we need a piece here.
right.
Or it's like the never-ending story. When you go through it a second time, it's never quite the same.
I never saw that.
Oh
What?
no!
What?
I can sing the song.
I've seen the
Every-
second one far.
Christian, we
than
are the only
yeah.
ones.
I saw the never-ending story. I was just
I
trying
never
to remember
saw
where
it.
the big white dragon was in this.
I think it was a dog.
A
Is
dog
it a
dragon.
dog?
Dog
It's
dragon.
a luck
A
dragon.
dragon.
It was
It's
a
like a
luck
dog.
dragon with floppy ears, Nick.
I guess I feel like they set
What's going
something
on?
up in season 4 and they couldn't. They made everybody really separate and they lost the chemistry and they're trying to recover from it, but they're not doing a very good job.
Like I said earlier, there was just way too long between the end of season
It's a big
3
ask.
and the beginning of season 5 when you actually had the cast working together far more than you did in season 4. And that length of time, I don't believe that they could bridge it properly. That's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, Kylie.
Anything else you want to say about what you liked or didn't like about the season? So, hearing none. So does everybody agree that season 5 is better than season 4, but not as good as the first 3 seasons?
Yes.
Marginally.
That's
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's way better, but yeah.
It depends on which version of season 4 you're talking about, too.
That's true.
See, we
still
had some
think-
disagreements about that.
I still think 5 is better than both
Either
versions. of
version.
season.
It's better than
Yeah.
both seasons, both versions
Okay.
of season 4,
Yeah.
but it's only marginally better than one version of season 4 and much better than the other version of season 4.
Which one? Which one did you like
What
better?
did you eat?
Chinese.
that was my phone.
Sure.
Did you
Welcome to
like-
English humour, Amy.
Spencer.
Yeah,
did you
yeah, yeah.
like
For breakfast.
When
that's
they
the thing.
recut it better, or did you like the original?
I liked when they recut it a little better because it seemed less disjointed, but at the same time it seemed a little too long in the tooth in that way.
Okay, agreed. Samesies.
See, and I liked the original better because I felt like it rewarded me for my intelligence if I got what they were trying for, and it was shorter. Season 4 remix was so much Ron Howard narration that by the end of it I was like, nope, too much, very tedious.
Oh, and definitely one thing that a gripe of mine I know I brought up for 4 that I had, I think even more so in 5, was just how much dialogue replacement there was. Back to that feeling of just like, they're just cutting this and recutting this
Oh yeah, there
until
was
they feel like it's
several
good enough.
times where I
And
saw
it's just-
lips moving where words weren't
Yeah.
coming out of mouths.
It was-
That always bothers me.
Where it's just like they're rewriting as they're recutting and
Because they
bringing
couldn't bring
people
the
in.
actors back and redo a scene.
Yeah.
And that's what it
Yeah,
is. They
so
couldn't
just
do reshoots.
Bring them to a booth instead with a mic and
Or even have them record it in their closet on their phone
It's on their-
and send it
yeah,
in, because
right.
the quality of even the quality of the audio wasn't
Can
the
you
same.
watch this on your iPhone and just voice memo this at me? Cool.
Was season
going on Netflix
5,
now.
so what we had said last time was the original of season 4 was confusing, the remix was sloppy.
Yeah, I give you
Yeah.
that.
Do you feel that season 5 was as sloppy, less sloppy, or more sloppy than remix of
For me, it was less. It wasn't a cohesive piece of TV, but at the same time, it was better than season 4.
They're both pulling themselves apart at their own seams.
I mean, you at least had the actors doing scenes together, etc. Even then, you did still end up with some bad dubbing.
There was an
Really,
interconnectedness.
really.
Whether you bought the interconnectedness or not was something.
I didn't buy this in the same way I bought seasons 1 through 3.
Right.
Literally or figuratively.
I just feel like their hands were so tied. They wanted to. They couldn't get everybody in the room, so they had to put certain people with other certain people at certain times.
Take it off the table.
It's just
There's a function
not
on your
my
phone
hand.
where you can actually do
Is
this
it
thing
on
where
a
it doesn't
table
vibrate.
by the speaker?
another room, perhaps.
No, I'm holding it in my hand.
Put it under
Could
a
you
blanket.
Take it in your hand and then put it in a different room and put it out of your hand.
Do you have a garbage disposal?
Put it on my leg. Okay, now it's on my leg.
We'll try that. That might take
Okay.
it a little bit.
Oh, it's the device you're using.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sarah, repeat what you said.
I
Tech support.
can't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
It got buzzed out of her.
I think what I was saying was, it's like before they had this dream cast of people, and they could do anything they wanted because they were all there. They were all scheduled to be there. They could put any combinations together. But now they know they don't have that, so they're writing around the situation, and so I don't think the writing is as good, and the chemistry's not as good, and it's
Yeah,
just...
for the first 3 seasons, they had a contract for a certain number of episodes. That was their shooting schedule. This was, people really like Netflix. We're writing stuff
And to be
whenever
fair,
it works for you guys.
none of them were as successful when they started as they are now.
Except for Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Jason Bateman's probably the most
No,
notable.
Will Arnett's real successful. He's had project after project.
No, they're more. I'm saying
Jeffrey
they're
Tambor
more
and Jessica
successful
Walters.
now than
Oh,
when
yeah.
they started at the beginning of season 3. So it was always going to be. It would honestly be like trying to revamp or bring back Firefly. You're not going to be able to get them all together anymore.
Yeah, well, that's
I mean,
true because some of
Tambor
them
and
are
Walters.
Yeah.
And Cross.
But
They
that
didn't
does
work
hurt.
before.
But Jeffrey Tambor wasn't supposed to be in very much of it,
No,
so
he
maybe...
wasn't.
That's what
Jeffrey
I remember
Tambor
thinking about-
always would do anything.
Because, yeah, the jobs aren't going to come quite like they used to.
Not for
Anymore,
him.
But, yeah, I was
think they will.
surprised.
But that's...
Well, he's older too. He probably doesn't even need to work.
Residuals. Right.
Okay, I know.
Yeah.
That killed the room. Good job, Nick.
I wasn't trying to.
I know. Arrested Development has not yet been renewed or canceled by Netflix for reasons one can only theorize at this juncture because the expectations are not good, so we don't know why they haven't put a pin in it. Do you think it should be renewed or canceled? Explain your feelings. And what questions, if they were renewed, would you have going forward, if any? And if renewed, would you keep
It
watching?
shouldn't be renewed, and it shouldn't be cancelled. It should just be let to go out to pasture.
Those were
I
the
agree.
options.
I think it should be done. They pretty much ended it. Done.
I didn't
Done.
know it was an option that
Done.
come back.
They haven't put any end dates on anything that tracks whether or not this show is done.
I think
So
if
there's-
Netflix thinks they can make not money off of it, if they can,
Right.
if it brings people to keep subscribing, they will make another season. I don't know if it has that weight anymore.
Sadly,
The
yeah.
fandom for Arrested Development got what we asked for. We got more seasons. It doesn't live up to 1 through 3. I would watch a season 6 if they made it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do a write-in campaign.
I don't think anybody
You're not going to save
additional...
our booze this time? Okay.
I don't think anybody additional is going to join Netflix because they are hearing such great things about Arrested Development right now, like the new ones. But, I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, for me, the hook from the old ones is so deeply set, I will watch as much as they put out.
And if you
Even
really,
if it keeps getting worse.
Yeah,
I'm just
we'll
gonna
watch
keep
it.
watching
I'll watch it,
But,
yeah.
getting new fans into it because of that, yeah, like I say, that seems a real tall order.
To me, seasons 1 through 3 were lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
That happened at a time that unfortunately wasn't conducive to their humor,
Lightning.
yeah, their time slot, Fox's general treatment of shows back in the early 2000s.
They were very bad in the early 2000s.
Very quick to cancel, because they had some really big shows like the X-Files, and then they had some really, really weak shows, and they didn't know what to do with the ones that fell in the middle.
Their business model was to
We'll try
shoot
anything.
as many pilots,
Yeah.
throw it up there, and whatever catches quick, we renew. If it doesn't catch quick enough, they cancel. And some people were like, I just started watching this. And
It wasn't unusual for Fox at that time to run 3 episodes and cancel the show. It happened with a
not at
Nathan
all.
Fillion show called Drive, I think it was called. 3 episodes. I actually think it was cancelled halfway through the 3rd episode, and they just played something else in the second half of the time slot. It went away just so suddenly,
Wow.
and that was Fox's MO back then. They were trying to catch things that they were all about numbers at that point, and it seems less so now.
I thought their business model was Starla.
Blew us all away.
Solid like a...
And if you really like the Job character, you don't need a season 6. You can just watch anything Will Arnett's in.
That's true.
That's fair.
And I'm happy that
Same thing with
Netflix.
Tony Hale.
It's true. Well, it's the same thing really
And
with any
Jim
of them.
Cross.
Yeah. I think Netflix tried something, and I think it's good that they tried something, but like we've said in previous episodes, I don't think it's worked. So it's kind of a failed experiment. Do you keep repeating the failed experiment till you get a success, or do you cut your losses and say, okay, we tried, and this is the best we can do, and now we're done?
Season 5 was their chance. Like season 4 was what it was. It was different. Mitch Hurwitz was trying something different based on the circumstances. It didn't land in a big way for me. And then season 5 was the attempt to get back to it, and it didn't get.
And it was too late.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just fell so far in season 4, the recovery was too much.
Yeah. Any and all of those things. It's not the same thing
so
as.
much logistically.
I'd rather rewatch 1 through 3 again than get a 6th season.
And
And
I was thinking this too, like, I feel like I need to rewatch 4 and 5. I don't feel like I want to rewatch them. I just feel like I really need to.
Samesies.
I am interested to see knowing how they're all actually related, how that affects
Well, I don't-
rewatches.
that's what
but
I'm
I
saying.
probably
That's
won't
part of
remember.
the open ending.
With 1 through 3, I can't imagine that they had all of that in mind
No.
for 1 through
No.
3. If even half of it. Like,
That Buster's a murderer.
turning Buster into murderer.
I don't
There
think
was
when
always
season
something weird
3
with
ended, they even had started writing a season 4.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Because they knew they were
They
being
were
canceled.
canceled,
That's the
canceled.
whole point of
Yeah.
season 3 was because they knew they were not going to
Yeah.
get renewed, and so they just threw everything at us in that 3rd season, which some people liked better and some people liked worse. I liked it better. I actually thought season 3 was my favorite because they really had no limit. They just went for everything. And it was
Governors were
uncomfortable and funny and raw. And
I think part of the problem that season 5 suffers from as well is that by going to Netflix, they didn't have to work around the censors as much as they did being on network TV.
That's
And I
true.
actually think
Creativity needs limits.
I think putting that or taking those limits off actually pushed some of the boundaries that you were used to them working within those boundaries, and then when those characters stray outside of them, it feels so out of place that may have had a negative impact on the season overall for me.
And also what you mentioned earlier, I mean, because of season 4's arrangement, so if you think about it in terms of chronology, now that they're back together in the 5th season and shooting things together, we're really talking about 16 years, actually 13 years, actually 12 years, Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects it.
Math is hard!
Yes, 12 years since the show went off the air in its original format
Right.
to season 5's release of the first part, with them all together as an ensemble.
One thing that strikes me when you give us those numbers is that Michael Cera still looks like he's 9.
I don't think so. I think he got
no.
creepy looking because they were trying to make him look younger, and then they were trying to make him
He still looks
be
much
older,
younger than
who
he
looks
is.
younger, trying to look older with that creepy porn mustache.
Yeah, the creepy mustache thing, I'll give you.
Some of that I think they're playing
Fit for
into
the-
based on
yeah.
the name, his other name.
But he
George
and Baby
Mayer.
both
And
did
George
not
Michael.
age badly to
Yeah,
this
George
point.
Michael as in, you
Right.
gotta have faith.
And George Maheris is an actor.
Oh, it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But I want to Google because I don't have any more context.
Okay.
But we looked it up and we're like, oh, that's fun. He got caught doing something.
While
bad.
you're Googling,
Mustachey.
George Maheris was an American actor who was in Route 66,
Oh,
the TV series. He
that
did pop albums, some other things.
There's something, when we looked
Trying
it
to
up, there was
figure it out.
something that he did in his life that they were referencing to, and that it was a joke that was the name he was also using.
He modeled fully nude in Playgirl magazine.
Well, George Michael was overtly sexual in season 4, so maybe that's it.
Didn't work.
Amy, if they
Yes.
even if they did bring it back, if they made a season 6, would you still watch it?
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I just thought that they kind of ended it in my eyes. But yeah, I would definitely watch it. I enjoyed the show. Season 4 was terrible, but I enjoyed the show, so I would watch it.
That's what everybody has said.
Yeah, I would watch it if it came back, just out of morbid curiosity at this point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because I feel like I had more hope for season 5 than I ever had for season 4. I was really glad it was coming back, period, in season 4. But then season 5, like, okay, maybe they'll get it right,
I
and
had
they'll
high
end
hopes
well.
for season 4 before I watched it,
Right.
and then about halfway through the first episode I went, oh dear.
Hopes dashed
I
down.
hope this gets better.
More.
Yeah, I hope this returns to what seasons 1 through 3 were, but it never made it.
So, given your feelings now about the various 5 seasons of Arrested Development, would you recommend Arrested Development with or without the revival series to longtime fans only or the public at large? Why or why not?
I would say if you've never watched any of it, watch 1 through 3 and you can stop there. If you really like 1 through 3, after
And
that,
have time to kill.
and have time to kill, in the summer months when there's bugger all else on, you can fight your way through season 4, get to season 5 for some payoff, but overall 4 and 5 are disappointing.
So
You don't
lower
need
your
to.
expectations.
Lower your expectations.
I think-
Don't go into season 4 thinking, oh my god, 1 through 3 were brilliant. I can't wait for season 4.
all this momentum.
Yes.
That's surely it will keep going.
Don't
I was
call
thinking
me
too.
Shirley.
If you watch season 4, you do have to watch season 5.
Yes.
I think that's
There is a little bit of redemption with season 5, but not enough to give me the happy feels I had through 1 through 3.
It felt anticlimactic
Yeah.
by the end,
Yeah.
really. I mean, that's kind of where
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
fatigue feeling.
it gave me some smiles. It was alright,
It
but
felt like it was on life support and you were okay seeing that flat line.
I don't know, that's darker than I would have gone, but that's a Spencer comment.
Yes.
It does remind me, again, just a moment from season 5 that not really quotable, but when George is trying to kill himself in the garage with the electric car.
Yes! That was funny.
Yep.
That's
Thanks.
true.
There you see where Joe gets some of his
Must be dark
genetics
over
from
here.
in that moment.
Yeah.
That's true. That's actually one of the pleasures I enjoy in watching Arrested Development is trying to figure out how the kids are like
The
the two
traits that-
parents.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the highlight of season 5 was the flashbacks to when they were children in the documentary version of when they were children.
Right.
Those were definitely the stronger parts for me because they filled in and gave you that timeline of how they became who they were.
That's a big part of why I assumed and now kind of hope that season 5 is the last season, because it has internally bookends the whole series with about as early in their lives as we... No, I guess like some of the other flashbacks were earlier in their lives, but the most significant things from their early lives and then the end of their lives as we know it in the course of the show. So it's just like a good bookend is let's just be done. Let's just be done.
Oh, it is starting to feel
What was
like
the question?
Amy-witchy. Would you recommend Arrested Development?
Yes. All that said, yeah.
But as Spencer has phrased it, does anybody disagree with that?
I probably wouldn't recommend it at this point because I feel like there's other things that I
You
could
wouldn't recommend seasons 1 through 3?
I'm not sure if I would or not. I really enjoy it, but I don't want to do that much talking. Like, well, here's what you got to do. You got to watch 1 through 3,
Just
and
tell
then
them to listen to the podcast.
if nothing else, maybe I can tell them to listen to this, and then if they're intrigued. But I just feel like there's
Spoilers,
other
though.
boxes that are checking that for me right now, like the quirkiness, the ensemble cast, the different things that I enjoyed. I could think of other things that I'd probably recommend first. Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry,
I
it's your
feel-
feelings.
Schitt's Creek, Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
So good.
The Office. I mean, I think there's
The
other
League.
things that are.
Did you watch The League?
I tried. I couldn't get into it, and I like everyone in the show.
Good show.
Amy,
I would say for hardcore fans, they should watch everything. They should, if there's a season 6, then they should watch it. For the general public, stop after season 3.
Fair.
That's what I would recommend.
on the next Arrested Development,
panel
Maybe.
podcast.
Is there anything else you want to say about season 5 of Arrested Development, or any Arrested Development in general?
I'm kind of going off of Sarah's comments. Like, I feel like with other shows I've recommended people, I'm so used to all those qualifiers. It's just like it's so built in. It's just like, well, this show that I love is great, but it was canceled by Fox probably, and so you don't get too attached, or it's okay, but then the movies whatever. Yeah, I'm so used to that.
But there's Schitt's Creek to just say, watch this. It's good. Done.
Schitt's
I've
Creek
only seen the
draws
first,
a
like,
lot
3
of...
episodes.
Oh, you gotta keep going.
Keep going.
It's good. It's good. It's
It
just,
takes some adjustment for Schitt's
I
Creek.
still haven't finished Breaking Bad. I still have.
I've never even watched a second of Breaking Bad.
Me either, but Nick likes it.
It's a good show.
It's great.
Schitt's Creek is an easy binge. It draws a lot of inspiration from Arrested Development.
Except it has heart instead of extreme chaos.
Yes, and
Which
it
is-
doesn't
those
rely
are both
on
good
dark
things,
humor.
it's just- that's how it's different.
And it's got some Canadian talent, so.
Catherine O'Hara is a national treasure in Canada.
And
She's-
Eugene
I
Levy
kept
and-
saying that, and then I was like, why can't we just like her
She's a
too?
continental.
I didn't say she
She's
was
an
right.
international treasure.
She's a
didn't say she was
continental treasure.
She's
Our
a
nation's
global
treasure.
treasure.
She's a treasure.
Universal.
All right, I don't know if we can go bigger.
I don't know who she
She's
is, so to me
treasure.
she's a hidden treasure.
You don't know who she is?
What?
You do.
She's in Beetlejuice and Home Alone.
Oh, okay, now I know who you are.
Come on.
Every Christopher
I
Guest movie.
didn't know her. I didn't know her name, but now you've said that, I know exactly who you're talking about.
She plays the mom. She's priceless.
She
They
plays
should
the
get her
mom
in
a lot
Arrested
of
Development.
things.
Hey,
What?
I watched.
So
I
they
watched.
should get her in Arrested Development.
No, because we
Too
like Jessica Walter.
No, not instead of. I mean,
As in addition, like we should
Yeah.
find her a new role.
let's
Why are
find
we
out.
trying to cast a show we just said should be cancelled?
Well, if we're producing it and we're gonna make money, then we're gonna make a lot of money. So,
Fair.
you know, maybe a crossover with Schitt's Creek. I don't know.
It's fun when Sarah and Spencer are on a panel because
So we're gonna
Spencer
have Schitt's
challenges
Development?
Sarah and
I
Sarah
don't
just
think
throws it
we've
back.
ever been on a panel together.
No, I don't think we have.
Firefly.
Oh, no, we have, yeah.
I was gonna say-
So we're going to have Shit's
Five of us.
Development or
Arrested Creek?
Arrested Creek.
Either.
I think shit's development. That's
Arrested Shits? No, that doesn't work.
because if the shit's put up.
I mean, it sort of works, but it sounds like you've got a health problem.
Yes.
That's the whole joke, Nick. Schitt's Creek. Anything else you want
It's an
to
excuse to
say?
be able to say shits without you having to bleep it.
Well, it's spelled SCHITT.
They could say it on Conan's, but every time they said it, they had to put the name underneath with the spelling.
Yeah.
That's because the FCC sucks.
Edit.
Just in case the FCC is listening to podcasts.
That's for another podcast, which
That's
we
the
probably
NSA.
won't
The
do.
FCC tweeted us at CPU Podcast.
That's all coming out.
What? I don't know what's going on.
Let's not provoke federal government agencies.
They've got enough problems right now.
That's what I'm saying. Anything else you want to say about the show we're talking about? Arrested Development.
No, I think we're done.
No, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Like the
good.
show should be, as should we. Now we all go back from whence we came.
Wow, that was practically Shakespearean. And since it was practically Shakespearean, I think we do have to,
Shuffle off this mortal coil.
There you go. So since we're shuffling off this mortal coil, what I'd like to do is thank Nick, Sarah, Spencer, Christian, and Amy for joining me again, or for the first time in Spencer's case, to talk about Arrested Development. This kind of effectively sort of ends our series, unless, if and when, Netflix decides to renew for Season 6, but we won't get into all that because it's now time to roll the credits. Couch Potatoes Unite! Was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, which is really another way of saying executively produced by me, Kylie Piette. My associate producers are Krista Pennington and Selene Rezmer. I edit this podcast, and our logo is by Rebecca Wallace. Our marketing graphic artist is Krista. Our theme song was written by Sarah Milbratz and sung by Sarah, Amy McDaniel, and Kelsey Rezmer. Kelsey played the keyboard, Ian McDonough played the bass, Christian Somerville played the guitar, and the whole kit and caboodle was engineered and produced by Kyle Aspinall and Christian. We hail from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts. Give us stars, give us comments, give us reviews. Let us know how we're doing. Send us a message. We might just read it on the podcast. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we should keep, what we should toss. You know how it goes. And if you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, where we have a guest book, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via our social media, Facebook, Twitter at CPU Podcast, and Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We always have several more new episodes coming down the pike. Just listen to our intros. And if you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, just find us. We are everywhere and searchable wherever you look for things on the internet. You can search for us, or you can subscribe at our website, our channels, our social media accounts. Stay up on our new events and episodes. Until the next time, Arrested Development, both original and revival, are only available on Netflix, who is now producing new content exclusively, although really, probably not anymore, but we're not sure because Netflix doesn't say anything. In the meantime, because we don't know when our Arrested Development panel will next reconvene, as Netflix has not made a decision, we are not going to meet again until if and when they do. As always, in the meantime, if you have nominations for shows we should cover on our podcast, contact us via social media or our email, couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com. You can volunteer to be a panelist too. In the meantime, and until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned!